Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Massimo webinar. Thank you all for joining and for your precious time. Today, we will introduce the Model 60N, the successor of the popular PM7000N. Roland could not be with us today. He sends his regards, but I'm not alone. Joining me from Paris, France is Yann Ghezi. Bonjour, Yann. How are you today?
Bonjour, hi everybody, thank you, I'm going well and I hope you will enjoy this presentation with Frédéric and me. Frédéric?
Okay, so Yann will walk us through the features today and we'll walk you to the construction. That'll be the mechanical and the electrical parts, and at the end we'll have the usual Q&A, so if you have questions, you can use the questions tab in your toolbar and we will address it toward the end. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Yann.
So, hi everybody. So we will start with a presentation of the Model 60N. As you know, the Model 60N is the replacement of the PM7000N. And first of all, we want to thank you because the 7000N was a real big success, and also with your help, because you made also the work to sell it to the consumers. And we are very proud to announce this new model. So the 60N will be available in black and in silver gold for €1,500, but we will now slowly dig into what it can do. So this is the lineup, just to understand what we made in the lineup. The Model 10 and the Link 10 and ACCD 10 will arrive at end of the year with also HEOS built in for the Link and the ACCD 10. Then it will still stay PM12 and SA12, so in the lineup. This is more the classical system, Model 30 and SACD 30 that you already know, Model 40 and CD60. And now we have Model 50, CD50, so it's complete line. And as you see, we increase a lot the HEOS built in all the products. Now we have the Model 60N, the successor of the PM7000N, with HEOS built in. So it's very interesting. We will have a lot of things, and you will see that it's also perfectly matching with the CD60 in design and in size. So just now we will make a quick view on what are the main improvements on the 60N, but there is a lot more than what we see here on the screen. As you see, we have the new HEOS network module that is increased in reliability, speed, and also in connection. We also added the Wi-Fi AC with this new module, so it's more bandwidth, more capability. We also added DSD 11.2 megahertz up to 384 kilobit and 30 bit per second, per 30 bits. And this will be an update due on end of 2024. We added also on this model the Bluetooth TX transmission, so that means you can use a headphone to listen to music while you also listen to your speaker in the same time, or just to your headphone in Bluetooth mode if you want. And also it will be Roon ready, so Roon ready will be updated this fall normally. So that's quite a lot of things on this product. Also now, as you know, PM7000 had the favorites, so you can add favorites in the call. So that was really interesting because it's very useful just to call, I want to listen to this playlist, I want this input with this information. So it was really simple to use. On the Model 40N, due to the new design with the porthole and the typical Marantz amplifier, we change a bit the situation and we lose this favorite function on the Model 40N. And that's a good thing. On the Model 60N, we came back with new idea, a new way of development. So it's back in the porthole, so we can see it directly from your remote control. You have now access to 10 favorites with directly control from the remote control, and it will be a summary on your porthole to remember what you selected. So that's a great point. Next, we will see that this product has also very nice new features. We removed the recorder output from the PM7000, but we exchange it with a pre-out, and from my point of view, it's much more interesting and brings much more possibilities to this product. We will see it a bit later. And also a very, very good point, it's the HDMI RC that we have now in the back of the product that will help the system. Also point, we add the connect button on the back of the amplifier, so if you don't have the remote, that can happen during an installation, we can connect the product with the button on the back of the amplifier. That's also a very interesting. Then we have also here a recap on many things. So here are the main improvements. Here it's also a table you can see against the model 40N, but if we check, we have now a 2.1 fixed low pass, and this is more simple, but it also increased the capacity to use it with smaller speakers in front, because sometimes with 120 Hertz crossover, it was not enough to cross the small speakers. So now we can go up to 150, and it's also much simpler for the consumer because most of the speakers have now the setting in the back. So instead to choose in the amplifier or in a or on the subwoofer, it's easier to have it just on the subwoofer. Also, what we change, it's HDMI RCs, as I mentioned just before. We have this new favorite calls, and also, as you can see, the weight is improved. We have more weight, so we have more things inside and more power. I can mean not power directly in watts, but it's also more stable and more capable on amps. And if we look to against the model 40N, you can also see that one was built in Chiricahua and the other one in Vietnam, but you will explain later on the benefit of this. Next, we will see the usage. I think it's very important. It's just a basic reminder, but it's very important to see all what you can do with the model 60N. As you see here, you can use it as normal amplifier, like an integrated amplifier with your networking function. So it's like, I can say, an all-in-one. You can just buy an amplifier and 2 speakers, and you have already a very nice system at home, and you can really enjoy music. Then you can add a CD player, you can add a turntable, but the good thing, you have access to the network, and then you can add all the normal devices for a very nice stereo system. But now we have also added quite other things, as you can see, and I will dig slowly through other slides, through all the functionality you can see here due to the audio return channel and etc. But here with the pre-out, a very good thing, you can also be able to please consumers that sometimes wants to use their amplifier when they're making music and they want to use active speakers. Very often they need a very good preamp, but they don't find it on the market because you have professional devices that are not as fine as we can find here. So you can connect it to your table and use your 2 active speakers for making music. That's also a great possibility. You can also, there is also consumer that are using active speaker because they love active speakers. So you have here a great preamp with all the settings. Then we have another usage with this product is for the consumer who doesn't want a AVR at home with 5 or 7 or 10 speaker at home. They want a simple stereo, and their main listening is stereo music. They don't want a soundbar under the TV because they want a very clean design at home. So, but they love music, so they want to use their Hi-Fi system just to listen to their TV. So that's also a good point now with ARC. And the great thing is that you have with the CEC the possibility to use your TV remote to control the volume when you use this input. So this is another improvement on this model, and this is also something that is very useful. Then we go to a very different usage. It's like you have at home a Hi-Fi system with 2 nice bookshelves, but during the time you find out that you need a bit more low-end information, you want some bit more sounding, you want a bit more bass sound, because you want towers, but you cannot put towers at home. You don't have the space to put towers at home. So you are a bit stuck with your 2 bookshelves, but you can here now add a subwoofer, and the subwoofer with a higher low pass filter, just set the subwoofer and make a nice crossover with your bookshelf, and you will have a very great sounding system at home. That's also a possibility with the new Model 60N. Then next we have other function. This is a bit tricky one. It's a bit exaggerated maybe, but it's also a situation that installer can use, or if you have the idea to have, if you have a consumer that has a bar or a big house with many distribution, and he doesn't want to have a complicated system with many things, so you can use a distribution amplifier and connect devices in ceiling, outside, on the same system with the pre-outs. That's great, and you can still keep your normal output of your speakers that can be used in the main living room with your bookshelf or your towers, and you have the distribution for the rest. And that's great because you can so expand the system in a house. It's not a multi-room system, but it's already a distribution system, and it's with a great preamp and the great input. So you have all the inputs with a great sounding. Then next, it's also quite interesting because you can go further with the system. It's also a way to step up by the time. You can start with the Model 60N, that it's already a very great product for your home. It's really great sounding, but sometimes you want some more. If you move or you change the house, you want more power, you want to change speaker, you want bigger speaker that needs more power. So you can add a power amp and you can drive your speakers. So here the demonstration is a bit exaggerated, but it's just to show what you can do. It's just as an example. So it's really important that you understand all and you get all the ideas you can make with this amplifier, because sometimes we are so used to have this product in the hand and we forget that we can do this and this and this with the product. It's just a quick overview of what we can do with improvement of the pre-out and the subwoofer settings. So that was a small step in for this part. And also what I want to mention on this product, it's very important. It's still part of the HEOS ecosystem. And the HEOS ecosystem is one of the biggest ecosystem you can find with this wireless speakers. You can have a real hi-fi system in your living room. You can have a smaller system in your office. You can have speaker in your kitchen. You can have distribution amplifiers in other rooms like the M4 or the HEOS Drive. You can have also a mix of brands with Denon and Marantz. So it's quite amazing all what you can do with it. You have really a big choice, and that's very interesting for the consumer. He's not stick to one idea. It's just not one speaker, and you cannot step up in the ecosystem. You can start with a 150 from Denon and then goes to M1. It's already something completely different, and then you go to even a Model 60 and other products. So it's really a very diverse system that gives you the possibility to extend your system in different rooms with different quality and from different manners. I think I made a bit a tour on this part for the usage. Frédéric, if you have some.
It's a very flexible system. You can do a lot of things with it, right? So depending, we're trying to widen the audience and get as many customers interested in the product. So let's talk a little bit about the construction. So of course, it's a new design, the new Marantz design. So keeping the same symmetry elements and the porthole that you find in the traditional design. We've also, as you can see, rounded the corners of the front panel, and the top cover became also larger than with the PM7000. And I've got some slides to show you the depth has changed to match the CD60 on it. And then the back shell has that unique sound ripple pattern, if we can call it that all the new Marantz products have. So those design features give you that really modern, luxurious, smoother look and feel. One of the differences is, as you can see on the left, is we had that appearance of the top cover is improved. We had that plastic sheet that was placed there due to the thermal mitigation of the power amp. So we have removed that plastic sheet on the Model 60's top cover because the heat dissipation obviously has been improved due to the bigger chassis. And the depth has increased with 5 centimeters. It's also a little higher and it looks much cleaner now. Like I said, we've increased the depth of it to match the CD60. As you can see in this image, also the Model 60N, like the PM7000N, has its heatsink positioned right in the middle for a good mass balance. So this layout is traditionally adopted for all the Marantz 2-channel amplifiers, unlike the AVRs, right? Also, the chassis rigidity has been improved by using layered construction. We'll talk about that in the next few slides as well. And then the digital PCB, which also contains the HEOS model, is shielded in a separate box, similar as the PM7000N, but we changed the color of the heatsink now to improve the aesthetics. So the heatsink reduces the temperature, obviously, that's the main purpose, and at the same time also shields the power supply noise from reaching the audio circuit on the right. So everything in blue, that's the audio circuit. We believe this layout is still the best for hi-fi 2-channel amplifiers. So most of the 2-channel amplifiers from Marantz will have that same concept. Here again, a side-by-side with open tops to compare the dimensions and the weight. CD60 on the left, Model 60N, exact the same depth there. And then you can compare with the 7000N, so that's like 51 millimeters difference. Now for the Model 60, we've added a bottom lid to increase the stiffness of the chassis. So the total thickness of the bottom increased from 1 to 2 millimeter. The color here is a little bit misleading. It's not copper plated. So we should probably ask the engineers to make that in a different color. But again, the main chassis itself is also higher rigidity by optimizing the location of the screws. The screws that fix the main chassis and the bottom lid is specifically chosen in such a way that you get a better rigidity. So as a result of this bottom lid, we have further reduced the vibration and the ringing of the chassis, which results in an enhanced low frequency speed. Another part is the transformer. The transformer bracket was made as an independent part in the Model 60, unlike the PM7000N. So on the left, you can see the PM7000N, the transformer is mounted directly onto the main body. Therefore, the vibration of the transformer tends to transmit throughout the whole product. So with the vibration decreased using that independent bracket in the Model 60, we also optimized the shape of that bracket to reduce the magnetic field and improve rigidity at the same time. So this has all a positive effect on the sound quality. Also, the feet of the main body, they contribute to increase the stability of the product. So the feet in the Model 60N are made of a high-density polymer alloy to increase the rigidity. So since the total weight of the Model 60N has been increased from 10.8 to 13 kilograms, we had to increase the size of and the density of the feet as well. So better feet counteract the extra vibration that you get from the weight and the size of the chassis. So the sound quality itself isn't affected. Then also regarding the knob feeling, a couple changes there too. So we installed a sliding sheet on the front panel and changed the shape of the knob to improve the feeling of the Model 60N. So if you compare the two, you will feel the difference of the two products when you push the PM7000N and the Model 60N up. The volume of the 7000N wobbles slightly, but the Model 60N is very steady. So if you look at the red circle on the left there, you will see the PM7000N's knob actually doesn't touch the chassis. So the knobs are attached to the decoder or the potentiometers, and that explains why the PM7000 knobs actually are easy to move to operate, but also easy to change inadvertently. So for the Model 60N, we extended, you can see that on the right side here, we extended that little rim of the knob. So the outer rim, there's no longer a gap and the additional rim touches the front panel. So the knob is supported by the front panel and not just by only the encoder. So the additional sliding sheeting between the front panel and the knobs makes it very smooth and steady. Also good news for those who want to rack mount the Model 60N, we've now used longer side panel screws that will allow for better securing in a rack system. Now, in terms of chassis construction and weight, the Model 60N sits between the 7000N and the Model 40. The Model 40N front chassis is even heavier, so is the rear assembly and the transformer, and of course, actually PCB. So it's a substantial increase, but that also helps to mitigate the stability and the rigidity of the chassis. So let's talk a little bit about the electricals. This is nothing new. It's the same as used in the PM7000N. So generally, the switching noise from a SMPS, a switching main power supply, has a negative effect on the sound quality. So in the Model 60, the SMPS is turned off in normal operation, so it does not have a negative impact. Only the toroidal is working then, but the SMPS works in standby mode for lower consumption because it consumes less than the toroidal. Let me talk a little bit about the signal paths for the tone control. There we made an adjustment. The PM7000N uses analog potentiometers on the front panel for bass and treble adjustments. And most of you will remember that signal flow is rerouted to the front panel where the pot meters are, and then back to the volume IC. So with the Model 60, however, we're using a tone IC and rotary encoders. These encoders are actually digital encoders, if you like. So the audio signal flow does not need to be rerouted to the front panel. The bass and treble rotary encoders on the front panel only send digital up and down values to the tone IC. So in this case, the audio signal flow is much shorter and it stays on the audio PCB. Of course, if you're using the PM7000N in Source Direct, you will bypass the tone control. You pretty much have the same shorter signal path. Next, we'll explain a little bit about the preamplifier circuit. It gets a little more technical here. So this circuit is the preamplifier stage that follows the volume IC. And for those who haven't heard of HDAM, HDAM stands for Hyperdynamic Amplifier Module. So this is Marantz's way to create custom operational amplifiers. Most companies will use off-the-shelf op-amps that have a fixed sound. So we make our own circuits with discrete components so we can fine-tune the sound to where we actually want it to be. Now, the Model 60 has a newly developed preamplifier circuit that has an updated version of the HDAM. So that new HDAM has a current source and an active load, which are cascoded by BJT. Although very technical, basically the main objective is to flow the current more accurately, and the result is you have distortion that's improved. Onto the main amplifier. So these are the circuits of the voltage amplification stages of the power amp. So on the left, you see the PM7000N. We use a simplified diode-based current source and a Wilson-type current mirror circuit. Whereas on the Model 60 on the right, we changed them to a feedback-type current source and a Wilson-type current mirror circuit. So these changes, that upgrade has reduced the 1 kilohertz distortion, so that's your THD plus N, by 33% compared to the PM7000N. So that's very substantial improvements, basically making the music sound more realistic. So the signal flow here, that's the same as on the PM7000N. The power amplifier circuit and the voltage circuit for both the power amplifier are on the same PCB. So here you see the high current voltage line, that's the yellow path, which comes from the transformer right here. I think you can see my mouse. So the yellow is coming from the transformer and loading the power caps. The orange is the high current signal path coming from the power amps. So the advantage of putting both the voltage line and the signal line on the same PCB shortens the signal path. And for us, in basic terms, a shorter signal path basically means richer sound. Okay. Onto the sound tuning. As a starting point, we've used the same audio grade quality components as on the PM7000N. So the toroidal transformer is in an enclosed case. Yes, we added a Marantz label on it now. We have the same dimensions and the same weight as a PM7000N. These components are pretty much the same starting point as PM7000N. So what did we do to improve further? Ogata-san, basically our sound master, has then further selected some core audio grade components, specifically to further fine-tune the sound to where we want it to be. So for the power amplifier, we've developed a specific electrolytical capacitor designed for the Model 60N. You can see it right here. That's the 15,000 microfarads from Suscon. We've also added Suscon's custom electrolytic capacitors for audio in certain parts of the audio PCB. We've used chip mica capacitors for audio, which is similar as what we've done with the Model 40N, and MELF high precision resistors also used in the Model 50. So sound tuning, Ogata-san also took care of and oversaw everything in terms of sound tuning for the Model 60. His main objective was to maintain, but also improve upon the PM7000's sound quality, and at the same time, optimize the pairing with the CD60. So for the Model 60, the sound points are fine-tuning with improved pre-power amplifier circuit. I already showed you the improved HDAM. The result for distortion THD plus N has reduced by 33% at 1 kilohertz compared to the PM7000, and also enhanced the low frequency speed by adding that bottom lid to the chassis. And in addition, the last bit is to carefully select all these audio grade parts. So where do we change some of the components? Where do we change some of the screws to get that extra bit? So these are all specific targets to basically get the sound to where we want and to increase signal flow and dynamics and such. So Yann, do you want to walk us through the summary?
Yes. No problem. So now we will see the summary. So as you can see, Frédéric explained quite a lot of things on the electric part and the construction part. So all this quite, it's like a lot of small details, but all this detail makes the sounds much better and greater. So as you can see, this product has a lot of improvement, and this is you can feel it, and really I wish you can hear it very soon so you can really enjoy it and be happy with this product. The thing is a premium integrated amplifier with current feedback, high intense instant current capability to drive a wide range of speakers, so with easy. Yeah, so the thing is, every time we build a product, or the engineers worked very hard, it's to increase this capacity to control speakers and to have this wide space and wide sound. So that's the first point. Then they worked on the digital PCB with shielding for the HEOS built in, so we can improve the quality. And we have here a high grade 32-bit ESS DAX that it's even better than what we had in the past. So now we jumped from the ESS 1910 that was on a PM7000N to the 1918 that is now a much better DAC, and we have a much more refined sound, more detail even there. So that's also a part of the evolution. We have this new HDAM that has been built with a new architecture to reproduce all the details. Still, we keep the toroidal transformer that is really important in Marantz construction. That's Marantz philosophy toroidal transformer. We have also a double layer button for extra bracing to have better stability for this toroidal transformer. So we must keep in mind that every vibration, every detail will bring a better sound stage. So that's a part of the construction. We have premium RCA and SPTK1 for the best connectivity for the speaker terminal. So it's basically a 2-channel with 60 watt, 8 ohm, 20 hertz with a THD for 008 and on 2-channel driven. Marantz phono MM and EQ, so that's really important. We have a very great phono input, so you can really use nice turntables with nice I'll say cells, so cellule in French, cells. So that's great. So you can have a very good sound. We have customized audio components, and we have still the HDAM, HDAM AC2, and HDAM SA3 in. But the great improvement, it's a pre-out, subwoofer output with crossover fixed to 150, so we improved it. HDR mark with a digital input, so that's really important. So for TV, like I presented in all the usage we have, still the nice toroidal transformer for this capacity. Customized main capacitors, as you Frédéric showed you. They have also even the sleeves that is cut on top for a better resonance, so it's really great capacitors, and it's eliminating some noise that we can create by the sleeve sometimes. So that's why it's also cut and custom made for us. So that's great information. Marantz SPTK1 with speaker terminal, stable chassis, high resolution OLED porthole display. So now also with the favorites, that's also great in the luxury industrial design. I hope this product will bring you joy when you will listen to it. I think it's a great product, and also it's very important. It's a product that is now for 1,500 euro on the market. So we achieve this also with changing factories, and maybe Frédéric, you will explain a bit more on this.
Yeah, it's a lot of tech talk, and the problem with these online webinars is you can't really do a proper demo for people to appreciate the difference between the PM7000 and the Model 60N. So what we've tried to do with the Model 60N, it's basically following the Model 40N and the Model 50 in terms of design and construction concept, and can consider that a cost down version, which is made in Vietnam. So we're making it available to a wider audience. We did some demos, and we had some measurements also from the engineering department. For those who are familiar, this amp is able of outputting 60 amps of current outputs. It's class AB topology, so not class D. And for class AB, this is quite impressive. 60 amps worth of peak output current. You can very comfortably drive floor standards. So sound-wise, the Model 60, when we heard it, it has more kick in the bottom end. It sounds way more dynamic and more lively compared to its predecessor. Don't you think, Yann? You have heard it as well in Chiricahua, right?
It's exactly what I felt in Chiricahua. So it's really, it's a real step up from the PM7000. I think we are one step further, and I think we see this improvements with the Model 40, with the Model 30. We see it's a huge changement since 1 or 2 years. Engineers, or we have also younger engineers that brings also a new blood in the system, and that's really interesting when we were there with their passion and their enthusiasms to develop this quite amazing product. And it's a refreshing, because it's we keep the philosophy. Ogata-san is still keeping the philosophy, but we bring a bit more. We bring a bit more kick and more dynamic, like you said, Philip, and also Frédéric. Sorry, I think it's more lively. It's more. I find it much more pleasant for my personal taste, and it's still difficult to explain what we feel when we listen to a product. But I think you have to really listen carefully to it, and you will see the difference, and you will be enjoying music. That's the most part, you can say. It's a great product. It's for the price point. I think it's just, for me, it was a very big surprise to see this improvement.
Excellent. So this brings us to the Q&A, and there's a couple of questions that came in already. Perfect. So let's start with the first one. Does the favorites button only work with HEOS, or does it work the same way as a quick select? So maybe we'll bring up the slide again of the remotes, and then you can explain again.
So just to call up, you just click favorite and then you will select the digit just under there.
Perfect. Is it possible to use the remote from the Model 60N also for the Marantz Model M1? I think power and volume, that's usually generic.
No, because I think it's different code. You have to learn because you have the RC5 code for the Hi-Fi, and I think on M1 it's more. I'm not sure, but I think it's more like a receiver code from the AV house. So maybe we have to learn it through IR or something like this. So I have to check, but I think it's different code for me.
Okay. Do we know what codec or which version of Bluetooth is used for the headphones Bluetooth transmission? What do we do? How does it work, the Bluetooth TX?
TX is just, you can receive it or you can transmit. You have two ways. You have TX and RX. RX is receiving, so that means the amplifier is receiving. TX it's transmitting. But here you have two choices. You can select speaker, only the speaker, or only the headphone, or a headphone with speaker. But I will check which Bluetooth codec it is on this one, if I don't make any mistake. I have to check.
Yeah, because this has a new HEOS chip, so we need to.
Yes.
I don't know off the top of my head either. Someone is asking if we can label the favorites for the OLED screen. I think the OLED screen he's referring to the porthole.
I don't think so. In the HEOS app, you can label it maybe, but not. I don't know if it will be on the screen. So we'll check. We'll double check and we'll give you the information on this.
Yeah, a very good question. Will the pre-out work at the same time as the speakers,
yes,
or
sure.
will the sound be in sync?
Yeah, sure. It will work also in your main listening room. When I said we can use the Model 60 in your living room with normal speakers, and you can then use a pre-out for the distribution, it will work in the same time with the volume control. So that's, yeah, no problem. You can have them both.
So yeah. Used. So the preamp is a variable output that's synced with the volume of the speakers, right?
Yeah.
When you add a subwoofer, can you high pass the main speakers? Does it have bass management? We explained that very clearly. Yann, do you want to repeat that?
Yeah, so no, for what we did, we increase the crossover level to 150. That gives you more room to set it up on your subwoofer. So before it was limited to 120, but we made it more simple for the consumer because we think that this type of consumer wants something very easy. You don't want to have a low pass, high pass filter to set up in the system and also on your subwoofer. So we made it very simple. Just
yes, and we tried that out. The integration is very simple. It's straightforward, right? It's not like you have to do on the PM7000N, you have to select and then you have to try and fine tune on the subwoofer at the same time. It's hard to get it right. Here it's actually much more simple to execute. Will the Model 60 and remote operate the CD60? That's a very good question.
Yes, yes. Normally, yes, they do, because it's the same remote control for all the Hi-Fi, and amplifier can call CD and CD can control Model 60, so no problem.
Good question, which I'm not sure if we can answer. Will the old HEOS chip in the PM7000N, for example, also get Roon connectivity? I think we're talking about Roon certified versus Roon ready, right?
Yeah, I think so. No, it will not get Roon ready. It's a bit too old chipset. It will stay Roon tested.
Roon tested, yeah. So Roon tested means that you will be connecting wirelessly via AirPlay. AirPlay means that whatever signal you will be outputting through Roon to the PM7000N will be downmixed to CD Red Book quality, which is 44.1 kilohertz and 16 bits, whereas Roon Ready should be able to get you more than that, high-res wirelessly, but that's only for the newer products with the newer HEOS chips.
PM7000, don't forget, it's like a 5-year old product, if we say. It's already started in 2019, if I remember well. So yeah, the module will take, it's too complicated to make it run ready.
Exactly. I don't see any new questions coming in. So do you have any final words for the Model 60N, Yann?
My final word, listen to it, enjoy it, really enjoy it, because it's, I think it will be a runner, because it's at a very nice price. It's not, okay, for many people it's already an expensive price, but I think at this level of quality, it's really, really aggressive price for all what is inside. So I think you can propose with this product a very, very nice solution. You can have many usage. It's a very like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it so many ways, and it's sounding great.
Yes, and it's future-proof. Exactly. Oh, there's one more question that pops in right now about the ARC, the HDMI ARC audio return channel. Can it support Atmos from, for example, Netflix? That's something we need to insist on. You have to change your TV to make it outputting PCM, because there is no Atmos decoder.
I think there is no DSP, so we cannot treat this as Dolby Digital Plus or whatever. So exactly. We have to add a DSP to have this functionality. So this is possible, for example, on the M1, because there is a DSP, but on this one there is no. So that's why we cannot add it, or we have to add it on top, and the price will increase, and we bring noise and etc. So it's a difficult choice, but no, here's just PCM stereo.
Okay, I think we have covered all the questions. Thanks everyone for joining again, and we will be seeing you in the next webinar, which will be very interesting. We're not going to disclose yet exactly what, so watch out for the invites. Thank you very much again for joining. Take care, and until next time.
Thank you all for your participation, and keep safe and enjoy our products, and please listen to it. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye for now.